All right, it is 10 o'clock. I need all officials, captains, and coaches to the scoreboard. Zero, I will be there in a minute. Hey, Nat, maybe. Test, test. Okay. All right. Who's ready to watch some roller derby on this lovely Sunday morning? Our first game we have up is going to be the Clam Jammers versus the Jelly Rollers. Can you hear me now? What about now? All right. Our first game today is going to be the Clam Jammers versus the Jelly Rollers. Clam Clam Slammers. I lied. Clam Slammers are going to be in gray and your Jelly Rollers are going to be in red. Really quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and announce these teams and the skaters. For the Clam Jammers in gray, we're going to have number 606, Bad and Bougie, 8008, A Cupcake, 742, Shred Flanders, 773, Booze, 141, Mobsta, 780, Mona Lisa, 9, Tenacious T, 1979, Nora the Destroyer, 505, The Little Swole Maid, 442, Bilbo Smackins, 394, Stormbird, 7, Agave Bay, 108, Kill Her Zen, 21, Dana Scully, 13, Din Jammin. And on your Jelly Rollers, you're going to have number 8, The Real Kim Shady, number 28, Niels Gore, 1220, Black and Bougie, 48, Rex Manning, 1026, Tanya Farding, 36, Sugar and Slice, 9, Schmitty Wergenmengensen. Sorry. Number 13, Buckrow Bay. Number 64, Star Foxy. Number 107, Rinkworm. Number 777, Madam Crusher. Number 6669, Steezy AZ. Number 556, Queso Blanco. And 201, Joy and Pain. Your bench coach for the Clam Jammers is going to be Joe. And your bench coach for the Jelly Rollers is going to be Buckeye. All right, and as our blockers and jammers start to line up, looks like we're going to have number 1026, Tanya Farding, jamming for the Jelly Rollers to start off. And then we're going to have number 8008, A Cupcake, jamming for the Clam Jammers. Looks like A Cupcake making it out on that outside line for lead jammer. Tanya Farting fighting against a really strong wall in the back with one last blocker to pass, and they get out. A Cupcake is around for their scoring pass. Trying to get up that outside line. Gets knocked out to the inside. Tanya Farting back around, scoring some points for their team. And A Cupcake getting stuck back here against this tough red wall. And Tanya Farting out to score 4 points. And A Cupcake calls it off, leaving it with a 4-4 jam. Is that good? I just turned it down. Okay. Is that good? All right, and we're off on our second jam. And the Clam Jammers make it out for lead jammer. Got number 7, Agave Bay, as lead jammer for the Clam Jammers. We get the Jelly Rollers jammer or pivot getting knocked out to the outside line by number 505, Swole Maid. And Agave Bay is out, scoring 4 points. All the Jelly Rollers pivots still struggling to get out on that initial pass. Got number 13, Buckaroo Bay, stuck behind as a pivot. And Agave Bay calls it off, scoring another 3 points. All right, next jam starting off. And again, you're going to have your Clam Jammers getting out for lead jammer. We're going to have number 9, Tenacious T. Ooh, and the Jelly Rollers, number 64, gets out. Tenacious T getting hit on the inside. Ooh, and then we have Tenacious T coming in with a nice little spin on the inside line. And Tenacious T calls it off. It's going to leave it with a 4-4 jam. All right, looks like we're going to have a similar matchup to our first jam. We got Tanya Farting up on the line for the Jelly Rollers, and we got A Cupcake jamming for the Clam Jammers. Tanya Farting with one blocker to beat, but gets knocked down on the inside. Ooh, and Tanya Farting is out for lead jammer, the first lead for the Jelly Rollers. A Cupcake finally gets out. Tanya Farting entering the pack, trying to score some points. They get out with a nice hit out, and they call it off. Called it off, scoring 3 points, leaving the Clam Jammers scoreless for the first time. right, looks like on the line we have Agave Bay for the Clam Jammers, and we have Star Foxy for the Jelly Rollers. Star Foxy trying to get out on that outside line, but gets knocked out. We got a Clam blocker going to the box, and Agave Bay is out for lead jammer. However, Star Foxy is right behind them. Ooh, and they pass him on the inside line. Agave Bay calls it off before anyone can score any points. All right, looks like we're gonna have number. Ooh, you're gonna have Booze on that outside line with some nice toe work, getting out lead for the Clam Jammers. Jelly Rollers Jammers still stuck in that pack, fighting hard. Booze has some nice footwork up at that inside line. All right, you got the real Kim Shady jamming for the Jelly Rollers. Still fighting out. Got one last blocker. And they make it out on their initial. And Booze calls it off before. But not before scoring 3 more points. All right. On the line, we have a Cupcake going up against Tanya Farting. This is the third time they've gone up against each other. They've both gotten lead the last 2 times. Who will win this time? All right, both jammers going up against some strong walls. A Cupcake trying to make it out from that outside line, and they make it out for lead jammer for the Clam Jammers. Tanya Farting with 2 blockers to fight up at the front of the pack. And they're out on their initial. Looks like the Clam Jammers really have a full penalty box over there with only 1 blocker on the track. Tanya Farting coming around, trying to score some points. Ooh, gets knocked down by the 1 blocker. And they make it up the inside line. A Cupcake coming around, scoring some more points. Looking for some O from their teammates. Gets knocked to that inside line. Got Shred Flanders trying to play some O on the outside. And Tanya Farting also coming out, but getting knocked out on that outside line. A Cupcake out, scoring another 4 points. And now the Clam Jammers have all of their blockers back on the track, with A Cupcake just getting around that inside line. A Cupcake coming around to score some more points. Tanya Farting fighting at the back of that pack. And A Cupcake calling it off. All right, looks like we're gonna have Agave Bay for the Clam Jammers, and then we have Star Foxy jamming for the Jelly Rollers. Star Foxy with some nice footwork on that inside line, getting out for lead jammer. Agave Bay right on their tail. Woo! Star Foxy trying to do a little apex jump up that inside line, gets knocked out and calls it off. It's gonna be a 0-0 jam for both teams. looks like we got the real Kim Shady jamming for the Jelly Rollers, going up against Booze for the Clam Jammers. And Booze has some nice footwork up that outside line, gets out for lead jammer. Ooh, Booze again with some nice footwork up the inside lines, coming around scoring 4 points. You got the real Kim Shady with the panty pass. We're gonna have now your jammer's gonna be Black and Bougie with the pivot coming around, but they call it off before they can score any points. All right, jamming for the Clam Jammers. It looks like it's gonna be number 9, Tenacious T, going up against 64 Star Foxy. Ooh, but Star Foxy is getting sent to the penalty box on a track cut. It's gonna be a power jam for the Clam Jammers. Tenacious T out for lead jammer. Ooh, with some nice O up that inside line. Tenacious T makes it up for another 4 points. Ooh, with some really nice O on that outside line yet again. Tenacious T making it out of the pack. You know, the Clam Jammers have some really nice O during this power jam. They really utilize it. Ooh, but Star Foxy comes out of the box and makes it out. Star Foxy around trying to score some points and makes it out. And scores some quick 4 points before Tenacious T can call it off. Ooh, looks like we have a cupcake again for the Clam Jammers, but they're going up against not Tanya Farding. They're going to be going up against the real Kim Shady. Ooh, and the real Kim Shady making it out of that pack for lead jammer. And it looks like we had a panty pass. Gavebe is a jammer for the Clam Jammers. Ooh. The real Kim Shady coming in with a really hard hit to that inside line, coming around, scoring 4 points. Gavebe being hit now on the outside. Making it up that inside line, one last blocker to beat, and they're out for 4 points. The real Kim Shady is fighting a really strong pack in the back, and they call it off. All right, looks like we're going to have an official timeout. I hope everyone's enjoying their Sunday morning. Me personally, I wish I had more coffee. Just saying. All right. Looks like that official review is over. And if I can use my context clues, it looks like the Jelly Rollers are gonna have the real Kim Shady being sent to the penalty box for a back block. All right, so the real Kim Shady is going to be sitting in the penalty box for a back block as the Jelly Rollers jammer, which means we're going to have a power jam for the Clam Jammers. Looks like we're going to have a new jammer for the Clam Jammers. All right, with one last blocker to beat, looks like Nora the Destroyer is going to be lead jammer for the Clam Jammers. Ooh, with a hard hit on that outside line. However, the Jelly Rollers pivot is going to be sent to the box, and Nora the Destroyer gets out for 4 points. Nora the Destroyer coming around, looking for some O from their. Ooh, but they get knocked out and call it off and score 4 points. Looks like the Jelly Rollers are going to start off with two blockers in the box. Oh, nope. We're going to have the Jelly Rollers with 3 blockers in the box. Oh, but it looks like we're going to have an official call off. We're going to have another official timeout. The things are happening. The officials are officialing. That's all we can ask for them. All right, looks like we're done with that official review. Oh, not an official review, just an official timeout. And we're going to start the jam with the Jelly Rollers having 2 blockers in the box. Nope, I lied. 1 blocker in the box. All right, jamming, we have Tanya farting for the Jelly Rollers going up against another new jammer for the Clam Jammers that I cannot see their number. Tanya farting, struggling up at the front of the pack with one last blocker to beat. And they get out for lead jammer. All right, it looks like the Clam Jammers, The Claim Jammers Jammer is being sent to the box. And you have Tanya Farding coming around, scoring 4 points. It's going to be a power jam for the Jelly Rollers. And Tanya Farding out with another 4 points. And they're going to call it off before the Claim Jammers Jammer can get out of the box. Yo, I've been calling them the Clam Jammers this whole time. How could no one correct me? Clam Slammers is the team name. All right, looks like on the jam line for the Jelly Rollers, we're gonna have Star Foxy starting off with a power jam. Clam Slammers Jammers out of the box. Ooh, but gets a tough hit to the inside. And Star Foxy is out for lead jammer. Yeah, Clam Slammers Jammer still struggling in the back of that pack. Ooh, and Star Foxy coming out on the inside line backwards. And Clam Slammers Jammer is out on their initial pass. Call it off before the Clam Slammers can score any points. All right, looks like on the jam line, we're going to have the real Kim Shady going up against Agave Bay. Agave Bay making up the inside of that track. Coming out for lead jammer. Get the real Kim Shady still struggling back there in a tough 4-wall. Agave Bay coming in, trying to get up that inside line. Ooh, but they got a track cut. Looks like we're going to have a 2-minute jam, and we have a panty pass. Game number 13, Buckrow Bay becoming the jammer for the Jelly Rollers. Buckaroo Bay struggling with that tough 3-wall up at the front of the pack. You know, personally, I can't skate right now, but I wouldn't want to go up against that wall. It's a tough-looking wall right there. It's a solid 3-wall. With one last blocker to beat, they're really pushing. And they're out. Look at that. We got Agave Bay back on the track from their penalty. Fighting against the pack at the front and they're out on that outside line. Buckaroo Bay coming up, looking for some O from, and they have some nice O from their teammates. One last little hit. It's knocked down, but they're right back up. Agave Bay also takes a little tumble. And Jelly Rollers reform in the front and knock them out to the outside line. And that jam is called off. I don't know about y'all, but that looked like a tough jam. I'm tired just looking at it. All right, on the line for red, we're going to have Tanya Farding going up against Dana Scully. Tanya Farding making it out for lead jammer, but Dana Scully right behind them. Tanya Farting coming around, trying to score some points really quickly. Ooh, and they're calling it off. Ooh, it's going to be a 1-1 jam. 1-1. All right. Looks like the Clam Slammers are really just kind of going through this jammer rotation. Got the little swole made up on the jam line for the Clam Slammers going up against the jammer that I can't currently see, but I'll let you know in a second. Oh, we got Star Foxy jamming for the Jelly Rollers. Swole May trying to play a little defense before they go. Fighting against a pack at the front of the wall, and they're out. Little Swole made out for lead jammer, but Star Foxy hot on their tails. Swole May trying to get some O from their teammates. Calls it off. But not before Star Foxy can get 1 point to Little Swole Maid's 3. All right. Looks like we're going to have Nora the Destroyer for the Clam Slammers going up against the real Kim Shady for the Jelly Rollers. Nora the Destroyer going up against one last blocker to beat, and they're out for lead jammer. The real Kim Shady fighting up against a strong 3-wall up at the front, looking for some O from their teammate. Nora the Destroyer coming back around to score some points. Gets knocked out to the outside line. And they make it up the outside line, score 4 points. The real Kim Shady still fighting at the back of the pack on their initial. Looks like we're trying to have Nora the Destroyer back around, scoring some more points. Real Kim Shady now fighting up at the front of the pack, and Nora the Destroyer out for another 4 points. Looks like we still got the real Kim Shady fighting at the front of that pack with a real tough 4-wall. Nora the Destroyer out for another 4 points. And gonna call it off. Just a little over 5 minutes left in this first game. Looks like on the track we're gonna have Tanya Farting going up against A Cupcake. Look at that. Our little jammer matchup. Tanya Farting trying to push on that outside line. A Cupcake trying to come up the end, takes a little fall. Tanya Farting with one last blocker to beat. Ooh, but a nice reformation by those blockers. And Tanya Farting is out for lead jammer, but not without A Cupcake right behind them. Tanya Farting coming up, trying to score some really quick points. Calls it off. All right. Tanya Farting scores 2 points to A Cupcakes 1. All right, starting this jam out, you got Star Foxy with some nice footwork up that inside line. Skating around for lead jammer. Looks like we have a panty pass for the Clam Slammers. Got Lil Swole Maid's gonna be the jammer now. Star Foxy still trying to fight up that inside line yet again with some nice footwork. Calls it off. Not before Lil Swole Maid can score some points as well. It's gonna be I think that's 3. A 3-3 jam. Yeah, 3-3 jam. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Score is going to be 103 for the Clam Slammers going versus 61 for the Jelly Rollers with just a little over 3 minutes left. Like we have the Real Kim Shady going up against. Can see the number. Going up against Nora the Destroyer. Ooh, but Nora the Destroyer is going to be sent to the box. It's like a power jam for the Real Kim Shady. Real Kim Shady is going to be your lead jammer for this jam. They're coming around, looking for some O from their teammates. Ooh, and they make it out on that outside line, scoring 4 points. All right, the Real Kim Shady coming back around to score some more points. Looks like we have Nora the Destroyer back on the track. Ooh, really pushing on that outside line, the inside line. And the Real Kim Shady calls it off. All right, looks like we're going to have Tenacious T jamming for the Clam Slammers going up against Tanya Farting for the Jelly Rollers. And we're off. Tanya Farting really pushing up that inside line. And they make it out for lead jammer. Tenacious T truly being tenacious and right hot on their trails. Tanya Farting coming in with a big hit to that inside line. Calls it off. It's still going to be a 0-0 jam. All right, this might be our last jam, but you never know. We're going to have number 21, Dana Scully, jamming for the Clam Slammers. And then we're going to have number 64, Star Foxy, jamming for the Jelly Rollers. Dana Scully with one hard hit to that inside line. Queso Blanco on Jelly Rollers really giving Dana Scully a tough time. Star Foxy trying to block a little bit to help out. Dana Scully out for lead jammer. Star Foxy really struggling to mix it up that inside line. Dana Scully around trying to score some points and calls it off. And that is the end of our first game. With a score of 107-65, the Clam Slammers are going to win that game, and they now proceed to the championship game later on. Congratulations. All right. Our next game is going to be Anchor Management versus the Krabby Beaches.